Armchairs, coffee, and scandal. Picture it. Two Spanish cycling legends, Miguel Indurain and Pedro Delgado, sitting in large leather armchairs that creak under the weight of history, sipping something suspiciously stronger than coffee while the entire cycling world burns around them. On the screen in front of them, Juan Ayuso's press statements roll like soap opera titles. Indurain, calm as always, mutters, quote, "To perform at your best, you need to be feeling your team." The line drops like Aristotle explaining how to set up a Garmin. He follows it up with the kicker, quote, "Made a good decision." Meanwhile, Delgado almost spits out his drink and fires back, quote, "Why add fuel to fire?" And with these three quotes, cycling's Greek chorus has spoken. This isn't just a rider leaving a team. Oh no, this is cycling's equivalent of a messy celebrity divorce, complete with finger pointing, accusations of dictatorship, Ayuso words not mine, and the kind of petty drama that makes you wonder whether Netflix has already signed a deal. For context, Ayuso, the Spanish cyclist, hailed as the next big GC rider at Team UAE, had been riding for them since his teenage years. He stood on podiums, grinned through team presentations, and played the loyal deputy to Tadej Pogačar. And then, boom, like a soap opera husband storming out on his suitcase, Ayuso announced that he was leaving, and not quietly. Oh no, he accused UAE of being controlling, a dictatorship, and of deliberately harming his image. Reuters made the bombshell quote, "We'd made an agreement that it would come out after the Vuelta was over, to try and harm my image again." If cycling had an EI channel, this would have been their lead story for a month, and sitting back in their armchairs, Delgado and Indurain are the elder statesmen of this saga. Part judges, part gossips, part moral philosophers in lycra. The divorce papers. Here's the thing about cycling scandals. They always sound like high-level sporting disputes, but scratch the surface and it's basically an ugly custody battle. Who gets the Sawyers, who gets the marginal gains, and who gets the villa in Andorra? Ayuso's split with UAE was framed exactly like this. From the outside, UAE looked like a cycling super team, Tadej Pogačar winning every race he looked at, a budget bigger than the GDP of Luxembourg, and a roster of starlets like Ayuso himself. But behind the scenes, Ayuso paints a picture of suffocation. His words, quote, "more like a dictatorship and a unilateral exercise of power over you." Imagine it. Training plans emailed like court summons, team orders barked like a drill sergeant, and Ayuso quietly seething as his personal ambitions were crushed under the Pogačar's juggernaut. He wasn't just leaving a team. He was slamming the door, throwing the ring on the table, and storming out with the dog. Enter Miguel Indurain, sitting back in his chair, nodding like the wise father figure who's seen it all before. Quote, "Made a good decision," he says. To Miguel, this isn't scandal, it's strategy. Ayuso has taken the brave step, the kind of thing Indurain himself would never have done if he bottomed up in the 1990s. For him, leaving UAE is less betrayal and more self-care. But Delgado, he's the exacerbated uncle at the wedding who's seen too many family fights. Quote, "Why add fuel to the fire?" he asked. And he's not wrong. UAE didn't exactly chain Ayuso to the team bus, they agreed to let him leave. They set him 3, and yet here we are, watching Ayuso torch the bridge with the kind of enthusiasm normally reserved for pyromaniac villains in action movies. If Indurain is the calm divorce lawyer saying, quote, "Yes, you'll get the house," then Delgado is the neighbour peeking over the fence muttering, quote, "Was it really necessary to throw the television through the window?" Flashbacks to the honeymoon. Because here's the kicker. Ayuso and UAE weren't always at each other's throat. Go back just a couple of years and Ayuso was the darling of the team. The Spanish rider given every opportunity to shine. He podiumed at the Vuelta in 2022, aged just 19, the youngest Spaniard in history to do so. UAE threw its support behind him. They gave him training camps, top-level support staff, and the chance to grow alongside Pogačar. In those early days, it was all smiles, press photos of Ayuso laughing with Tadej, interviews where he praised the quote amazing team culture. It looked like a honeymoon, the dream of a dynasty. Pogačar the king, Ayuso the crown prince, UAE the unbeatable empire. So what happened? According to Ayuso, the dream soured, dictatorship, image sabotage, control. According to UAE, he's ungrateful, impatient, and too quick to air dirty laundry. According to Delgado, well, quote, why add fuel to fire? And that's why this whole thing feels less like a sport and more like reality TV. We've gone from, quote, happily ever after to, quote, I never loved you anyway, in the space of 2 seasons. You almost expect Ayuso to show up on Spanish TV with a box of tissues and a tell-all book called Breaking Free, My Escape from UAE. Meanwhile, Indurain just keeps nodding sagely. Quote, to perform at your best, you need to have feeling with your team, he reminds us, as if this is a hail mark card sent from the cycling gods. Translation, if Ayuso didn't feel the love, he was doomed anyway. Fans, firestorms, and fallout. Let's not forget the fan base. Social media turned this into World War III. Half the comment section are siding with Ayuso, calling him brave, saying UAE is a corporate machine that chews up young riders. The other half call him spoiled, pointing out that he had a golden contract, the best sources and resources in the world, and he still wasn't happy. Cycling pundits, well, from what I can see, they're divided too. Some echo Indurain's calm reasoning. Ayuso has to do what's right for his career. Others roll their eyes like Delgado, pointing out that public misjudging never helps. The one person caught in the middle of the whole drama, Tadej Pogačar, the golden boy of UAE, now finds himself without his Spanish lieutenant, and with his team looking less like an empire and more like a soap opera set. Does it make UAE look stupid? Maybe. After all, they've spent years building Ayuso up, only for him to leave in flames. Does it hurt Pogačar? Definitely. In the mountains, he'll miss having Ayuso as his climbing partner. But in the grand scheme, UAE will shrug, sign 3 more wonderkinds with oil money, and carry on. That's what super teams do. If Ayuso, who now has to prove himself outside the UAE bubble. Still, you can't help but laugh at the way this all unfolded. UAE and Ayuso agreeing to part ways quietly, like civilized adults, and then Ayuso immediately lighting the gasoline with accusations of dictatorship. Delgado sighs into his brandy. The man sounds like he's narrating a Shakespearean tragedy. Legends on the balcony. And so we return to our 2 armchair philosophers, Mikel Indurain and Pedro Delgado. They sip their drinks, watching the chaos unfold on television like retired kings watching peasants brawl in the marketplace. Indurain, as ever, is the voice of the calm wisdom. Delgado's rolling his eyes in the voice of exacerbation. He mutters again, shaking his head. To him this isn't bravery, it's immaturity. Why not leave quietly? Why drag your old team through the mud? Why? Why, Juan? Why? Together they're the perfect old couple. One nodding, one sighing. One seeing strategy, the other seeing drama. Both of them knowing that in 20 years none of this will matter. But right now it feels like the cycling world is splitting in half. What's your opinion? Comment down below and let me know, and leave a like on today's video for good luck. Also, if this is your first time here on my channel, consider clicking the subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my videos, which will tell you about the cycling news, cycling drama, and cycling results from recent times. Thanks, and I'll catch you in the next video.